I wasn't looking for love. Hell, I wasn't even looking to pass calculus. I just needed someone to help me stop failing it. That's how it started. One email to the tutoring center, a 10-minute walk across campus, and suddenly I was sitting in a stuffy room with fluorescent lights and the faint smell of old coffee, waiting for anyone to help make the numbers stop swimming in my head. And then she walked in. Lena, tall, poised, confident in this quiet, unshakable way. She wasn't flashy, no heavy makeup or fake smiles. It's just sharp eyes that locked onto mine like she'd already solved me before I'd even opened my mouth. "You're Kyle," she asked, raising an eyebrow like I was late for something more important than a tutoring session. I nodded, suddenly too aware of how stupid I probably looked with my backwards cap and crumpled notes. She sat across from me, opened a folder, and launched into derivatives and limits like it was the most natural thing in the world. I couldn't focus not on the math, anyway. It was her voice, low, smooth, and deliberate. She didn't just talk, she commanded. And every time she leaned over to scribble a formula or correct my mistakes, her sensed something soft, like vanilla and coffee wrapped around me, pulling me deeper into this strange daze. I kept telling myself it was just attraction, nothing serious. Maybe I was just tired. Maybe I was desperate for help, for connection, for something more than the haze of beer, deadlines, and burnout that had been my entire semester so far. But it wasn't just a crush. I felt it in my chest like a drumbeat, this restless, aching curiosity about her. Who was she, beneath the brilliance and the sarcasm? Why did I feel like I wanted to make her laugh just to hear what it sounded? Like that first session ended and I walked out of that room with my heart thudding in my ears and my notebook full of answers I barely remembered. All I could think about was the way her hand had brushed mine accidentally. I'm sure, but it lingered. Or maybe I just wanted it to. That night, lying in bed, I didn't think about math. I thought about her eyes. It's the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was explaining something. It's how she kept glancing at me like she was trying to figure out if I was actually listening or just pretending to. I was both. I didn't know it then, but that was the beginning of everything. The start of something I never could have predicted. I'd signed up for a tutor. What I got was a woman who would unravel me piece by piece and make me question every line I thought I wasn't supposed to cross. And God help me, I already wanted to cross every one of them. Asterisk, it started with a look. Not the kind you get from someone being polite or friendly, but the kind that lingers a second too long. Makes your skin heat under your clothes and turns every innocent moment into a question. I caught her staring at me one night in the library, eyes locked on my mouth while I was trying and failing to explain a problem she'd already solved for me. She blinked fast, looked down, cleared her throat. But something hung in the air, between us, thick and unspoken. And from that moment, I stopped pretending I didn't want her. Our sessions started getting longer. Not because I needed more help, though, I convinced myself I did, but because I craved being near her. I found reasons to linger after we were done. She didn't push me out. Sometimes she even seemed to lean in. Her jokes got bolder, her compliments warmer. One night, after the library closed early for a maintenance issue, she hesitated when I asked what we should do. "My place is close," she said, her voice careful, like she was testing me. "If you're still serious about studying?" I was, but not about math. Her apartment was small but cozy. Books everywhere on shelves, on tables, even a few stacked on the floor. She kicked off her boots and threw her keys in a bowl without looking at me. I followed her inside like I didn't already know I was walking into something dangerous. We sat on her couch. She handed me a mug of tea and opened her laptop. For a while, we actually worked. I asked questions I didn't care about just to hear her talk. She explained things while tucking her hair behind her ear, and I imagined what it would feel like to do that for her. When our hands brushed over the keyboard, I didn't pull away. Neither did she. There was a pause, a breath. Then she turned to me, eyes darker than I'd ever seen them. You're staring, she said. It wasn't an accusation. It was an invitation. So are you, I replied. And I didn't think I just leaned in. Our lips met like we'd been waiting years for it. No hesitation, no turning back. She tasted like tea and something sweeter I couldn't name. Her hands moved to my chest, under my shirt, fingers grazing my skin like she was learning it. I touched her like I'd dreamed of, slowly at first, then with the urgency of someone who knew this might never happen again. We didn't rush, but we didn't waste time either. Clothes fell away. Walls, too. Her skin was warm, soft, electric. Every sound she made carved itself into my memory. She whispered my name like it meant something. Like I meant something. It wasn't just physical. It was emotional. Intense, this quiet desperation between us, like we both needed this to fill some invisible emptiness. After, we lay tangled on her couch, half covered by a throw blanket, breathing hard. Neither of us spoke for a long time. I didn't know what this meant. I didn't even know if I'd ever see her like that again. But in that moment, I felt everything. The risk, the heat. The impossibility of going back to how things were. She glanced at me, eyes soft now. Probably shouldn't have done that, she said. But her fingers were still tracing circles on my arm, and she didn't move away. I knew she was right. It complicated everything. But it also made something. Undeniable crash into focus. I didn't want her to be just my tutor anymore. I wanted her. All of her. And I was already in too deep to pretend otherwise. Asterisk, it's strange how quickly something can become a secret. 1 minute, you're just two people sharing a kiss a night. Maybe even something close to love, and the next, you're glancing over your shoulder, wondering who saw, what they'll think, how long you can keep this hidden before it explodes. That's what it felt like after that night with Lena. I told myself it wouldn't change anything, that we could go back to the way things were. But every time we were in a study room, with her across the table from me and her lips wrapped around a pen instead of mine, my mind slipped. Back to the way she'd looked at me in the dark. Back to the way she'd moaned into my neck when I touched her. And I saw it in her tooth, those flickers in her eyes, the quick glances when no one was watching. We didn't talk about it, not really. It was as if naming it out loud would make it too real, or maybe too fragile. Still, we kept going. I kept booking tutoring sessions I didn't need, and she kept saying yes. Our touches became quicker, more careful. A graze of her hand when she passed me a pen, my knee brushing hers under the table. Little moments that meant everything, even though we never acknowledged them. The secrecy made it hotter, more addictive. We started finding excuses to be alone. She'd forget something at her place and ask if I could help carry books. I'd show up with coffee late at night, pretending I needed help with an assignment due in 5 hours. Somehow we'd always end up in each other's arms, hungry. Kay, impatient, like we were making up for all the hours we had to pretend we were nothing. And yet, the more I touched her, the more I saw the cracks. The way she'd pull away right after we were done, mumble something about early classes, and disappear before morning. How her smile would falter if I tried to ask her real questions about her life, her past, anything deeper than what derivative I was stuck on. I tried not to push. I didn't want to scare her. But I was falling, fast and hard, and it terrified me that she might not be falling with me. Then came the night I tried to tell her. We'd just finished sheets tangled, bodies slick with sweat, hearts pounding, and I turned to her in the dark, suddenly desperate to hear her say something real. "This means something, right?" I asked. She was quiet. Too quiet. Then she rolled over, her back to me. "It's complicated, Kyle." I stared at the ceiling, her words sinking like lead. Complicated. That's what people say when they don't want to give you an answer. Kay? When they want to keep you close, but not too close. Kay? And I knew deep down I wasn't just imagining if there was something she wasn't telling me. But I loved her. Or at least the version of her she let me see. So I stayed. I kept showing up, kept touching her like it would fix whatever she was trying to bury. But with every kiss, every silent goodbye, I felt it growing, that ache in my chest. That quiet, awful feeling you get when you realize you might want someone more than they want you. I told myself it would get better, that maybe she just needed more time. What I didn't know then was that time wouldn't fix anything. It would only make the fall harder. And the betrayal, when it finally came, that much worse. There's a moment just before your heart breaks when everything slows down. Time stretches, your breath catches. The world sharpens in the worst possible way, like your body wants you to feel every single detail of what's about to ruin you. That's exactly what happened the night I showed up at Lena's apartment, holding 2 coffees and a stupid grin, ready to surprise her. I thought I was being sweet, thought maybe, finally, she'd let me stay the night without vanishing before sunrise. I even imagined what it might feel like to wake up next to her for once. I didn't expect the knock on her door to go unanswered. I didn't expect the silence, but the light was on. I could hear faint music playing. I assumed maybe she was in the shower. So I turned the knob, expecting her to yell or laugh or throw a pillow at me for barging in. Instead, what I saw froze me where I stood. He was there, Sean, my roommate, standing in the middle of her living room, shirtless, his jeans half-buttoned, like he didn't expect company. He looked as surprised as I was. Behind him, Lena emerged from the bedroom barefoot, cheeks flushed. Wrapped in a robe I recognized from one of our nights together. She stopped when she saw me, eyes going wide with panic. She opened her mouth like she was going to say, my name, but I couldn't hear it. My ears rang too loud. The coffees slipped from my hands, hit the floor with a dull thud. So, this is what complicated looks like, I managed to say, before turning around and walking out. She called after me. I didn't stop. I didn't want to hear the lies, didn't want to see the guilt on Sean's face, or the shame on hers. I just walked, fast, aimless, desperate to get as far away from that image as possible. It burned in my head. Her in that robe, our robe, standing next to the guy I trusted enough to share a room with. The guy I once called my brother. I wanted to scream, punch a wall, drink until I forgot how her skin tasted, or how she used to whisper my name like it meant something. But mostly, I just felt hollow. Like someone had taken a knife and carved me out from the inside. That night, I didn't go back to my dorm. I couldn't face Sean. I ended up crashing on a friend's couch, staring at the ceiling until the sun came up. Wondering how I let myself get here, so vulnerable, so exposed, so damn naive. I kept checking my phone even though I swore I wouldn't. 10 missed calls, 4 texts, all from her. I didn't open them. I didn't need to. I already knew what they'd say. It's not what it looked like. Please let me explain. Didn't mean for this to happen. But the truth was, she let it happen. And that crushed me more than anything. I gave Lena pieces of me I'd never shared with anyone else. I let her in. I believed we had something real, something that mattered. And in return, she broke the one thing I didn't even realize I'd put in her hands, my trust. I thought what we had was different. I thought I was different, but maybe I was just another guy, another body, another mistake. I didn't know what. Hurt more that she'd been with Sean, or that she didn't seem to think it was enough to end us until I caught her. Either way, something shattered that night. And I wasn't sure if it could ever be put back together, ChatGPT said. Grief is weird when the person you're mourning is still walking around, still breathing, still sending you late-night texts. Like nothing's changed, but everything had changed. Lena didn't just break my heart, she broke me. And in the weeks after that night, I tried everything not to feel it. I stopped going to our tutoring sessions, skipped classes. I ghosted Sean completely. When people asked where I'd been, I just shrugged or gave some half-ass excuse about burnout. But the truth, I was drowning. It's not just that I lost Hertz, that I lost who I was with her. There was this fire she lit in me, Something I didn't even realize was there until it was gone. And I hated that I still missed her. Hated that I kept replaying every touch, every breathless kiss, every moment that made me believe in something deeper, like it had all been real for me. But just convenient for her. Then, out of nowhere, she showed up at my door. I opened it without thinking, and there she was. Same soft eyes, same messy hair, like the Lena I remembered from all those nights when she let me believe I was the only one. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Her voice cracked when she said my name. Kyle. I didn't sleep with him just like that. No hello, no apology. Just a desperate confession. I almost laughed. So what? You just walked out of your bedroom half naked while he was there shirtless for fun. Okay. My words were sharp, but they were covering something worse. Hope. Hope that maybe she hadn't completely shattered me? She stepped inside slow, like she was waiting for me to throw her out. I didn't. I just stared. She explained everything. How Sean had shown up drunk that night, uninvited. How they'd been friends before I even transferred here. How he'd tried to kiss her and she pushed him away, and then I showed up before she could make him leave. I froze, she said. I panicked. I didn't want you to think. Her voice broke again, and I could see it, feel it, that she was telling the truth. Or maybe I just wanted to believe she was. That was the worst part, not knowing what was real anymore. She reached for my hand. I didn't pull away. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But her touch still felt like home and poison at the same time. I messed up, she whispered. But not the way you think. I was scared of how I felt about you, Kyle. Scared that it was too real. I searched her face, waiting for a sign, a crack, anything that would tell me whether this was just another game, but all I saw was pain. The kind that mirrors your own. I need to know, I said, my voice low, almost shaking. Was I the only one? She didn't hesitate. You were always the only one. Maybe it was foolish. Maybe I was setting myself up to fall again. But in that moment, I believed her. Maybe because I needed to. Maybe because I still loved her, even after everything. She didn't beg, didn't cry, stood there, raw and open, like she was finally letting me see her whole. And that scared me more than anything. 'Cause now the choice was mine. Walk away from the person who hurt me. Or fight for the person who just might be the only one who ever really saw me. And God help me, I wasn't ready to let her go. Not yet. Asterisk love, when it comes back to you after it's been broken, doesn't feel like fireworks. It doesn't rush in like a storm. It's quiet, careful, almost scared of its own shadow. That's how it was with Lena and me after everything, tiptoeing around the cracks we'd made in each other, trying not to step too hard, trying to see if anything still fit. And somehow, it did. Not perfectly, but honestly. We started over, not with sweeping gestures or tearful reunions, but in the tiny, honest moments that stitched something real between us. A text from her in the morning, made coffee, want to swing? By a note left in my notebook after tutoring. Still think you look hot when you're confused by math? We were rebuilding not from where we'd left off, but from where we should have started doping. Cautious, raw. It wasn't easy. The trust, the comfort, the ooh-sit, all took time. I still had questions I was too scared to ask. She still had moments where I could see the fear in her eyes, like she was waiting for me to vanish. But I didn't. I couldn't. Because underneath all the pain, the confusion, the betrayal, there was something real. Something we both felt but didn't have words for. And when she let me back in, not just into her bed, but into her life, it didn't take it lightly. I started to see the parts of her she used to hide. The way her voice shook when she talked about her dad who left when she was 9. The way she shut down when people got too close. The reason she kept calling us complicated. It wasn't because she didn't care. It was because she cared too much, and no one had ever stayed long enough to prove they meant it. I wanted to be that person. The final twist came on a night I never saw coming. We were lying on her couch, her head on my chest, reruns of some sitcom humming in the background. She lifted her head suddenly, looked at me like she had something trapped behind her teeth. "I'm leaving," she said, just like that. My heart stopped. "What?" I asked, sitting up. "Where?" She swallowed. "Grad school. Chicago. Full ride. I applied months ago. Before us." My stomach twisted, not because I didn't want her to chase her future, but because I finally realized I couldn't imagine mine without her. She touched my face gently. "I wanted to tell you sooner, but I didn't know if we'd survive us." And there it was, the moment I had to choose again. I could let her go. End it clean. Wish her well and tell myself we had our time. Or I could fight. For her. For us. And not in some dramatic movie ending kind of way, but with plane tickets, with long-distance calls, with trust we'd earned inch by inch dots. So I kissed her. Soft, slow, full of every word I couldn't say. "We'll figure it out," I whispered against her lips. "We've already made it through worse." She smiled through tears. "Do you really believe that?" I nodded. "Yeah, because you weren't just my tutor, Lena. You were my turning point. And maybe we didn't get a perfect ending, but we got an honest one. And that, more than anything, was the love I never saw coming but would fight for every damn day."